Good afternoon, sir. I am Leela Pokhrel, currently pursuing my MPhil in STEM education from Kathmandu University. Today, I will be sharing my personal learning journey and how it has shaped my current research agenda. My reflection is guided by three key questions: how my learning approaches have evolved, the pedagogies and assessment I have experienced, and how these experiences inform my work in the STEAM field. Without doing any delay, I'd like to start my presentation now. Talking about my learning approaches, my learning journey began with the conventional model of education. It was very passive, heavily teacher centered, and focused mainly on exams. I memorized more than I understand, and learning felt disconnected from real life. Over time, especially through my engagement with abacus training, I moved toward a more active and personalized approach. The mental arithmetic practices I taught and experienced helped me see learning as a skill building process, not just content absorption. This shift expanded further as I began collaborating with the teachers through participatory research, where we co design lesson plan and discuss teaching strategies also. These were deeply reflective and grounded in classroom realities. Now I strongly value progressive contextual learning, learning that's meaningful, reflective, and empowers both students and teachers. And talking about pedagogy and assessment method, in my early education, the pedagogy was mostly traditional, lecture based, exam driven, and focused on rote memorization. Students had little voice or agency in how they learn. But as I progress, I encounter more reflective and collaborative practices such as journaling, group discussion, and project based work. These methods help me think critically and apply concept in context. In my teaching now, especially through participatory action research, I use co-teaching methods where student and teacher work together. Assessment has also evolved. I no longer rely slowly on tests. Instead, I focus on formative assessment like portfolios, peer feedback, and real-world tasks. The approaches support experiential learning and empowers learner to own their progress. Okay, let's talk about framing my research agenda in STEAM. These personal experiences have deeply shaped my research agenda. My focus on abacus training as a tool for developing foundational math skill among school learners. I, I am using a participatory action research PAR approach where teachers are not subject but co-researchers, bringing their experience into the research process. My goal is to challenge traditional math teaching in Nepal, which is often rigid and exam centric. Through inquiry based and reflective strategies, I hope to transform both pedagogy and mindset. This approach is closely aligned with the STEAM principle, encouraging integration across discipline, innovation in methods, and meaningful collaboration between educators and learners. Um, in takeaway part, uh, to summarize, my learning has evolved from passive to active and now transformative. I have shifted from memorization based education to meaningful, formative assessment and empowered learning. My research reflect these changes, integrating abacus practice and participatory approach. Above all, my work centers on localized, reflective, and STEAM aligned pedagogy, which I believe is essential for meaningful education reform in Nepal. So finally, for next step, looking ahead, I plan to continue advocating for contextual, progressive education through workshops and collaboration. I also want to expand my research on abacus training, especially its long-term impact on learners, mathematical confidence, and fluency. Finally, I aim to collaborate with more educators to implement participatory teaching strategies, helping shift classroom from rigid to responsive, from passive to purposeful. So this much from my side. Thank you so much.